Good morning, everyone, and welcome to this morning's webinar, which is the International Accounting Day quiz. So you may have joined us last week on several of our sessions. Last week we did 5 Quick Learn webinars, and to earn your badge you needed to attend 4 of those sessions and one of our quizzes. So this is the final one in celebration of International Accounting Day, which was in fact on Sunday. So my name's Jackie and I'm going to be hosting the quiz along with Michael today. So thank you very much for joining us. Just a reminder there on the screen around those sessions. So if you did attend 4 of those sessions and you're here today, then you will be receiving your badge from us towards the end of the month there. So please do bear with us when we're using a brand new system to us. And that may just take a bit of time for us to get all of the badge details uploaded. I will be going into more detail at the end of the session today around that new badging system. So if you have joined us for badges before, it is going to have a new look and feel. So please do stick around so I can quickly show you what to expect there. Okay, so the housekeeping for today, you will notice that you are placed on mute. That just means you can't shout your answers out to us today. I know you're very keen to get involved. So it will all be done using the polls today. If you do have any questions around any of the topics, however, please do send your questions across. We've got Abby and Matt in the background for any questions if you need anything clarified, etc. So as I mentioned, we're going to be using the poll feature today for the quiz, and it's an opportunity for you to test your knowledge on the sessions for last week. So we do have 5 rounds, 1 for each session that we did last week. Now, the results aren't marked, okay? It is just a bit of fun and just a bit of a way to consolidate your learning. So please don't panic if you didn't make a session. It really does not matter. Please do just give it a go, get stuck in, and let's try and have some fun this morning. What we will do is after each question, we will share the results or what you've all submitted. And then after each round, we will go into a quick explanation or a demonstration. So there's going to be 5 rounds in total and 4 questions per round. So good luck and let's get this underway. So the rounds we're going to cover are, first of all, round 1, getting paid quickly. Round 2 is automating transactions. Round 3 is reporting made easy. Round 4, protecting your data. And round 5, shortcuts for success. So even if you didn't attend all those sessions, you might still pick up some hints and tips from today's session. Okay, so we'll get started. The other day when we ran this, a little bit slower than we expected, so apologies for that. We want to try and make this a bit quicker today for you. So I'm going to go launching into the first poll for today, round 1, all about getting paid there. Okay, so you should see the poll appear on your screen in the next few seconds there with our first question of the day, which is which service enables your customers to pay you via direct debit? Is it invoice payments? Is it Opeo by Elavon, Go Cardless, or invoice finance? So we mentioned, I think we've mentioned 3 of these on Tuesday's session last week. Which of them is the option for a direct debit with your customers? Okay, now the votes are starting to come through, and I will try and wait till we have around 60 to 70% of you placing your votes, just so that I can get a good idea of your responses there. So they're just starting to come through. And just going to close the poll there. So don't panic if you don't get your responses through. Like I say, we're not going to be marking this, so please don't panic there. So we're going to share the answers to the first one so you can see what everyone voted for. And again, there's no naming and shaming if you've got anything wrong. So please do just give it a go if you're not sure. So we've got 3% of you thinking invoice payments, 24% saying Opeo by Elavon, and 74% are saying Go Cardless. Invoice finance was the one we did not cover. Okay, so that's probably a good indicator on that one. Okay, we'll move on to question 2. And this is a true or false question. True or false, invoice payments allows part payments of an invoice to be made. So we covered invoice payments on that Tuesday session. We showed you how you can use invoice payments to make payments online, sending out bank statements with a pay now option. But does it allow part payments? Okay, so the votes have started to come through, which is great. So please do get them across. And again, if there's anything you want us to clarify, anything you're not sure of, you've got the questions panel there. Okay, I'm going to close the poll. I'm going to share. And at the moment, 94% of you believe that to be true, but we have a small portion of you thinking that that is false. So Michael will reveal all of the answers in just a few moments there. Okay, question number 3 is on its way. There we go. Standard layouts with bank details already added were introduced in which version? So we have standard layouts available which have the bank details applied already. Can you remember what version they came in? So they've been available, standard layouts have been available for a long time where you can add the bank details on, but we've started to provide them with the bank details pulling through from your default bank account. Can you remember the version number? Now these ones are always a bit tricky. It's very hard to remember what version things appear in. Even we get this one wrong in terms of when features appear within the software. So don't panic too much if you're getting that wrong. I'm going to close that down. So we got 48% of you thinking it was version 30, followed by version 29 with 39%, and then equals there for version 27 and 28. Okay, final question of round 1. Can you believe it? Round 1's done, nearly done already. And that is, which 2 of the following use a Pay Now button? So we went into detail in one of these on Tuesday, and the second one we sort of mentioned in passing. So which of these can be used to add a Pay Now option onto your invoices, which you can email to your customers and they can click on that Pay Now option to launch a payment window? Okay, votes just suddenly flowing through there, so you can actually select more than one on this particular question because there's 2 options here. And I will just give a few more moments just to get your votes across there. So just remembering there's 2 options here. And I'm going to close the poll there. Okay, so that's round 1 done. So it's across to Michael. Michael is going to share with you the answers on there, and we'll be back for round 2 in just a moment.
Thank you, Jackie. Good morning, everyone. Right, okay, let's get crack on. We'll go through the answers for round 1. So first question. Which service enables your customers to pay you via direct debit? This is a company we've been in partnership for quite some time now, and it is Go Cardless. So great for building up close relationships with your customers. Just a nice, easy way for them to pay you. You'll find loads of information about these as well within the Help Centre should you need it. So well done if you got that one right. Question number 2, true or false? If I can find the right button, there we go. Let me just share the right screen for you as well. I think I got that mixed up there. So try that one again. So question number 2, true or false? Invoice payments allows part payments of an invoice to be made. And the answer to that one is true as well. Now, we had about 94% of you voting for that one, so 6% saying false. It can be version specific, that one as well. So early on, you were only able to pay in full, but in recent versions, you are now able to make, or your customer would be able to do a part payment against the invoice if needed. Question number 3. Standard layouts with bank details already added were introduced in which version? And the answer to that one is version 29. So well done again if you got that one. So you'll have those layouts available in version 29 or version 30. Now, if you haven't got those already, obviously it is easy to manually add that type of information to your invoices. You don't have to use one of the standard layouts. And there are webinar recordings on that type of process as well, show you exactly how you would go about doing that. If I just quickly share my screen though, and I'll show you what we mean by adding the bank details. So if we went into invoices and credits and we just select an invoice and pop into the print area, into layouts. Now I am using version 30, so if you're using version 30, you'll find that you've got a lot less layouts listed by default. So things like the 11-inch invoice layouts that were and have always been available, they're no longer listed. You can get them if you need them, but they're no longer listed by default. So some of these, for instance, this one here, it will say A4 invoice / credit discount with bank details. So that's the key. If you want to use a layout where your bank details are pulled through automatically, you would need to use that type of layout. But as I say, easy to add them in manually if you're using your own layout or a different one. Right, again, let's pop back to the slides. And moving on to the final question of this round, and it was, which two of the following use a Pay Now button? So the correct answers are Appeal by Elavon and also Invoice Payments. So the majority of you did, I think 84% of you voted for Appeal and 66% of you picked up Invoice Payments. Now, one of the advantages of Appeal by Elavon is that you can also add in a Pay Now button onto your customer statements as well. You can't with Invoice Payments, but you can with Appeal by Elavon. So it's another option when you're sending out your statements. If you're emailing them out, you can include that little button. Your customer can click it and make that payment to you online, again, to help you save time and just make that payment process just that little bit quicker. So well done if you got those right. We'll pop back to Jackie, who will crack on with the questions in round 2.
Okay, thank you very much for that, Michael. Okay, so that's us on to round 2. Round 2 is all around automating transactions. This was the session we did last Tuesday afternoon with Abby. So again, we're on to round 2 and that's 4 more questions there. Okay, so question number 5 is, where would you find the no recurring entries at startup setting? So recurring entries is a feature that allows you to set up regular transactions, and you can set it up to notify you upon entry into the software that you have recurring entries to process. So where can you switch on this feature? So this is a bit of a tricky one. If you've got access to your software, you might want to give it a quick go, as long as you're quick. The votes have started to come through there. If you're not sure, give it a guess. Don't worry. Like I say, there is absolutely no shame in getting this wrong. This is purely just a bit of fun this morning. Okay. Flying through now. So we'll just close the vote in just a moment. Just going to try and get up to around 50% of the vote there. And like I said, these are a bit tricky, these ones. So I'm just going to close the poll and I will share the results on that one. So maybe a little unsure on this one. The majority saying settings, company preferences, and then parameters, followed by settings and configuration, and then settings, company preferences, and details. So we'll leave that to Michael to share in just a moment. We'll move on with question number 6, which is a true or false. So in bank feeds, you can set up a rule for bank transfers. So again, Abby showed you around bank feeds, showing you setting up rules. Rules allow you to automate some of your processing by automatically posting transactions on your behalf, but can they be set up for bank transfers? Now, if you want to find out more about bank feeds, we are running our bank feed series this week, so you're more than welcome to register for those sessions. We had to do a flying visit last Tuesday, but we do in fact have 3 sessions running this week, which are all different, and I would recommend having a look at those sessions if you're interested in bank feeds and automating. Okay, so I'm going to close that poll there and just quickly share. So we've got 78% of you thinking true and 22% on false there. Question number 7. Just trying to move on there. Question number 7, apologies, is another true or false. So similar to the last one, but with bank feeds, it's possible to split payments across multiple nominal codes. So if you think sometimes you get a transaction and you actually need to split that manually, but can you set bank feeds up to do that for you? Is that statement true or is it false? And again, if you want more information, get yourself registered for this week's sessions. Okay, the votes are starting to fly through there. Just give it a moment or 2 more just to try and get as many of you involved as possible. And I'll just share the results there. So 92% of you stating true, 8% of you saying false. Okay, we're on to our last question for round 2. And this one is, in bank feeds, what is the maximum number of rules that can be set? So is it 100 rules, 250, 300 or 500? So think about it. Think about how many transactions you process. How many of those can you actually automate? Can you imagine how much easier life and processing might be if you were able to automate, say 100, say 250, or even 300? So maybe something to think about if you're weighing up whether or not to use bank feeds. Okay. Okay, I'm just going to give a moment or 2 more just to get a couple more votes through. Maybe not as clear on this one, so I'm just going to close the poll and share there. You'll see exactly what I mean. Almost an even split there. Okay, so again, I'm going to let Michael do all the revealing now. So we'll send over to Michael. He'll do the answers and I'll be back with you for round 3.
Thank you, Jackie. Right, okay, well, let's crack on with the answers for round 2. Just waiting for my screen sharing to come across. There we go. And then we'll run through the answers. So round 2, first question. Where would you find the no recurring entries at startup settings? So yes, definitely on the settings menu, this one, but you would find it within settings, company preferences and parameters. So if you've not come across that one before, if you are using recurring items, it's a good option just when you open the software. Do you want it to prompt you or not that those recurring items are due or not? Let me just quickly show you that one, just to remind you where it is. It's one of those settings as well. It's almost like back to front. So if you just pop into settings, company preferences, it'll prompt you for your password. And then on the parameters tab, it's this one here. It should be ticked by default, which meaning that you won't be prompted if you've got recurring entries due. So if you are wanting that prompt when you come into the software, you'll just need to take the tick out, okay that. And if there are due when you're opening Sage 50 accounts, then it will prompt you and you'll be able to get straight into that screen. I used to find it was quite a common issue that people would forget to process them. So that's where you'll find that setting. Right, going back to the slides and moving on to the second question in this section. True or false? In bank feeds, you can set up a rule for bank transfers. So 78% of you said true to that one, and 22% saying false. And the actual answer to that one is false. You can't actually set up a rule in bank feeds for a bank transfer. It's something that has been requested for our development team, so loads of people have fed that back to us, saying it's probably the one omission from the rules area for the bank feeds. However, it is easy to post that anyway. So if a bank transfer does download via the bank feed, all you would need to do, if you've entered it manually, just in case if you matching it manually, or if you if you haven't already entered that transfer in Sage Accounts, what you can do is just select that transaction that's downloaded and then use the create option. And that will enable you at that point to post the transfer. Now, some of you may have got confused by rules and the create option. It is the rules option that the question was specifically about there. Right, next question. With bank feeds rules, is it possible to split payments across multiple nominal codes? And the vast majority of you got this right. We found that on the last session as well. Just over 90% of you said the answer to that one was true, and it is. What you'll find when you set up a rule for instance, for a bank payment, is that you'll be able to split that as many times as you want. You can split that by percentage or by value of the total value of the actual transaction itself that's downloaded. The example we generally give is like dual fuel. If you're using gas and electric, for instance, with the same provider, you might pay one direct debit, and you might want to split that, say 60%, 40%. So you can do that. So when that transaction downloads, it can automatically do that and split that between the various nominal codes that you specify. It doesn't just have to be 2 splits though. You can add as many as you want for that. So well done if you got that one right. Final question in this section. In bank feeds, what's the maximum number of rules that can be set? So quite an even split, as Jackie mentioned. We had about just about a quarter of you voting for each of the options there, and the correct answer was 300. So it is 300 rules per bank account. So if you've got multiple bank feeds, so you might have multiple bank accounts in your Sage Accounts, you might have a number of them connected to a separate bank feed. So it's 300 rules per bank account. So that can be a big time saver, and it's probably one of the key features for helping you to save time in bank feeds. The more rules you set up, the more automated it becomes as your transactions download. The more automated it is, the more time that you're going to save. If you haven't really looked at rules yet, then again, Jackie mentioned this one. We are running a session this week on that. So do get yourself signed up. The registration links will be included on your follow-up email. So that concludes the answers for round 2. And we'll pass you back to Jackie for round 3.
Okay, thank you, Michael. Okay, so yeah, we're going to look at round 3 now. This was Wednesday morning. This was Michael covering Reporting Made Easy. And again, we've got 4 questions based on what we covered during those sessions. So just to keep things moving, I'm going to start with question 9 there. And it should be launched in just a second there for you. So we're going to go in with another true or false, which is custom reports can be added to a batch report. So true or false. So batch reporting, one of my favorite features, allows you to run multiple reports at the same time with the same criteria. So you can build a set of reports based on what you want to cover essentially. But can you add custom reports to those? So true or false. Okay, the votes are coming through there. So quickly close that down. We just got past the 60% mark. So I'll just close that down and share the results there. So 88% of you at the moment selecting true for that particular question. Question 10 is which menu includes the batch reporting feature? So again, that should just be launching there for you. So again, if you've got your software, you could quickly have a quick check on this one. But where in your software would you go to find batch reporting? Is it Tools, modules, settings, or connected services. So please do get your votes across there if you can remember which feature or which menu you go into for this. Okay. Okay, we've got a clear favourite on this one. I'm going to close that one down for you. So 85% of you have selected tools, followed by modules with 9%, settings with 6%. Okay, question 11, just around the halfway point there, is, I'll just launch it first of all, sorry. And I think I've just done what we did. We've closed the poll down too soon, so we'll just read that one out. If you can just pop down in your answers A, B, C, or D. Unfortunately, I've just closed that poll a little bit early there. So it was, which reporting feature was introduced in Sage 50 Accounts version 30? Just bear with me 1 second. I will get your options for you. Was it A, report design, B, favorites, C, report finder tool, or D, AI report finder? So sorry for this one, if we could just use the questions panel to pop your answers through. So the question was, which reporting feature was introduced in Sage 50 Accounts version 30? Was it A, report design, B, favorites, C, the report finder tool, or D, the AI report finder? So if you can just pop your questions in, into the questions panel. There we go, they're starting to come through there. Apologies for that. There's always one question I click on too quickly, so do apologize for that one. So far we've got about 5 or 6 responses. Don't want to indicate too much, give any clues away. Okay, thank you so much. I will make sure I don't click too quickly on the next one. Apologies. Okay, so far the majority of them are C and D so far. So we'll again get Michael to check that one in just a moment. I'll pop back to the poll for the next one, and I will be patient with my clicking. And I'm just going to launch this one here. So this is the final one for round 3. And that is, what action can be used to export the data currently visible on the Sage 50 account screen? So would you use the clear option, the print list option, if I can speak, the reports feature, or send to Excel? Just leave that poll open there. So if you've got the data on your screen, what is the best way to export that information? Is it to clear, print list, run reports, or to send to Excel? Okay, so if you could just get your votes across, that is us at the end of round 3. I'll quickly share those just before I send this back to Michael. So I'm just going to close that poll down there and share. And we had the majority of you, 97% saying Excel, and a couple of you indicating on reports there. Okay, so Michael, back to you for the answers to round 3.
Thank you, Jackie. Right, okay, so answers to round 3. First question in this section was true or false? Custom reports can be added to a batch report. And the simple answer to that one is true. So any report in Sage, whether that's a standard report or a custom report, can be added to a batch report. Now, that actually might have been a guess, as we didn't actually cover adding custom reports to a batch report in the session last week. But any report can be added. Now, remember, if you're on Essentials, you won't actually have the batch reporting option. Great feature. You would need to be on the standard level or the professional level though to gain access to that. So well done if you got that one. Second question in the round, which menu includes the batch reporting option? So I think the vast majority of you got this one right. It was the tools menu. Now, if you are on standard or the professional level, obviously you will have access to that option. So the only reason that wouldn't be available to you on the tools menu if you're on standard or professional is down to access levels. So get that enabled, great feature. So anyone that works in credit control or in fact any role where you would run a series of reports consecutively, whether that's at a month end, year end, or maybe you're doing stock take, anything like that, where you run that series of reports, you can batch them up, set the batch going into one set of criteria, and it'll run all of the reports simultaneously. So again, that can be a big time saver, that one. Now, the one that we had a technical blip with was question 3. Which reporting feature was introduced in Sage 50 Accounts version 30? So the options were report design, favorites, the report finder tool, or the AI report finder. In version 30, we introduced the AI report finder. It is very similar to the report finder tool that's always been available via our help center, or been available for many years. The idea of both is to try and get you to the right report, so helping you to identify it. There are over 900 reports available in your Sage software. So one of the most common questions is, which report do I run to get this? So the idea of the original report finder tool, so even if you're not on version 30, you can get into a help center and try and find the report you're after using that report finder tool. Or using the report finder tool, the idea is you could just type in some quick keywords and then it'll try and identify the report that you're after, point you in the right direction. As I say, it's one of those common questions that people get in touch with our support team about. Final question in this section is, what action can be used to export the data currently visible on the Sage 50 account screen? The correct answer to that one is send to Excel. So we had 97%. So we just beat last week's group, who there's about 95% of those voted. So split still round about the same, but we just beat last week's group. So technically all 3 print list reports sent to Excel. I think what we were really looking for is the send to Excel option. Just makes it really easy to send that information. So a fab feature. I'll just quickly show you that one, just to remind you, just in case anyone missed the session. I'll just quickly share my screen. So any screen you're in, it doesn't really matter what it is. You could be in a batch entry screen as well. So in customers, we've got on the toolbar, we've got that send to Excel. So whatever information is listed, now it doesn't matter whether information is highlighted or not, it's whatever is listed. So you click send to Excel. If you've got the desktop version of Excel installed, it'll transfer that information across. Do be careful if you're in the transactions list. If you've got hundreds of thousands of transactions, it may take a little while to transfer that across. Remember, if you are wanting to limit the information, you've got access to things like filters. You can apply a quick search as well. So whatever's listed, that's what gets sent. Common use for it in nominal codes, journals. You pop in the details of your journal. You could print it, or you might send a copy of that to Excel just for your records, just so you've got that saved. You'll find that send to Excel is just about available just about throughout the software. So do use it if you aren't already. Right, that concludes the answers for round 3. Back to Jackie.
Okay, thank you very much for that, Michael. So we're on to round 4 next, and this was run on Wednesday afternoon last week with myself. And again, we've got 4 more questions on that session there. So on to question 13. Let's quickly launch that one there. Is in which version was the option to restore into practice data introduced? Was it version 29.2, version 30, version 30.1, or version 31? So this is a great feature which allows you to restore a backup over your practice data rather than into your live data. So it just removes a little bit of the risk and a little bit of the worry that goes with restoring a backup onto your live data. So if you can get your votes across there, if you can remember which version, if you were listening very intently. If not, give it a go, have a guess. Okay, we seem to have a clear leader on this one. So if I just close the poll and share, at the moment it looks as though majority are stating version 30.1. I will put my hands up and say version 31 is a little bit of a red herring. That one has not been released yet, but do watch out for webinars on version 31, which are coming in December. But I won't tell you the right answer because I don't want to steal Michael's moment there. We just like to tell everyone what the correct answer is. So on to question 14. Okay, so true or false? If you restore into practice data, your data will be retained in there indefinitely. So if you were to restore into the practice data, logged out of practice data and went back into practice data, would it still be there? So it's that statement of retaining it indefinitely, true or false. Okay, the poll results are coming through. And again, we've got quite a clear leader on this one. We'll be able to see if that's true or false in a moment. So I'll close the poll there. And the results are 69% of you stating false at the moment, or will be revealed in just a moment. So the final one for round 4. Sorry, I lied. It's the second last one of round 4. And this is another true or false. This is the schedule backup option. Will check your data and back up even if you have users logged in. So is that statement true or is that false? So the schedule backup is a great feature. It allows you to take a backup on a regular basis. You can pick which time it does that and how often it does it for you. But does it allow you to do it when users are still logged into the software? Okay. I don't think there's ever been a clearer winner, but I'll just close the poll there and share. Oh, we were on 100% when I clicked, but we do have 3% false now. Okay, and like I say, Michael will reveal all in just a moment. Okay, so last one for this round. Let's quickly launch that for you. So in the check data feature, what does it mean if you have an error? Okay, now some of these are quite similar, but there is one clear answer if you look back at the notes from the week gone past. Is it that we recommend you fix these before continuing? Are errors for information only? Or is it that you must stop processing until they've been resolved? Or is an error that a user has posted something incorrectly? Okay. Just leave that another moment just before I pass back to Michael there. I think there's 2 fighting for the winning spot on this one. Okay. And we're teetering around 50-50 there. I'll just share the results there. So we've got 54% of you saying we recommend you fix before continuing, and 43 you must stop processing until they've been resolved. So very similar answers, but worded slightly differently. But I'll leave that to Michael to reveal. So back to Michael, and then we will be back for the final round of today's quiz.
Thank you, Jackie. Right, we'll quickly run through the answers to round 4. Right, okay. First question in the round. In which version was the option to restore into practice data introduced? It was 30.1. So prior to this option being made available, if you logged into practice data, you always started from scratch. So start with a blank set of data. And each time it would offer you the chance to reset that data in specific areas. In 30.1, great resource. Rather than going into a blank set of data, it means that you can restore a backup of your data. Now that could just be the case, actually you want to run some reports from a previous period, or you want to check information, data that was entered at the time. And it means you can have a play around. So if you do attend a webinar, maybe it's a new feature and you want to have a bit play with a certain feature such as budgets or departments on your specific data to see how that what it looks like and how it works, then you can do that. So a great learning resource, that one. So 30.1 was the correct answer for that one. Next question, true or false? If you restore into practice data, your data is retained indefinitely. So 69% of you were right by choosing false. You just beat last week's group where we had 68% voting for false. So when you close out of the practice company, if you have restored your backup into that, the next time you log into it, you will be prompted with the same options. Do you want to start with a blank set of data or you want to restore? So essentially that data that you've previously restored is wiped, so it's cleared from that. Now, just in case you're wondering what practice data is all about and you're thinking, well, I've never come across that, I'll just quickly show you where you would access that. So I'll quickly share my screen. So anywhere within Sage 50 accounts, if you just go to the file menu at the top, choose open, and then you have these two options here. So open demo data. So demo data is like a set of Sage data. It's pre-populated. It's got loads of fictitious companies in. We use that a lot on the webinars. You'll see them in the background on my screen at the moment, a copy of the demo data. So it means that you can have a play around with the software with some information that's already there. The practice data is this option. And this is the one that you're going to get if you're on 30.1. So do you want to use the blank data, which you've always had on previous versions? But if you're on 30.1, do you want to use your data? In that case, you just need to browse for your backup file and continue. So it'll pop a copy of that in, and obviously as you exit, it'll clear that. So that's how you would access that. Again, great training resource, that one. Right, heading back to the slides. And again, another true or false question. So true or false, the schedule backup option will check your data and back up even if users are logged in, and the answer to that one is true. So virtually everyone got that right, so 97% of you. So you did beat, again, you beat last week's group. I think we've got the group that were paying attention today. So the vast majority of you got that right. So you will not notice that happening as well, the schedule backup. It will just do that in the background. So it'll check your data, it'll take that backup for you automatically at the scheduled time. Now remember, if you need to access that option, you will need to be logged in as manager. It's only the manager logon that can access that. Even if you're an admin logon, you will need to log in as manager. So log in as manager, and then it's file menu, schedule backup. And we did have a lot of questions about this on the session last week, asking, well, does my PC have to be switched on for that to actually work? Well, only the PC where your data is held has to be switched on. So it has to be powered on. Doesn't need to have Sage up and running. So what that means is if you run across a network, you've got your data stored on a server, it then wouldn't matter about your individual PC or anyone else's. As long as that server where your Sage data is located is powered on, then the Sage data service will check your data and it will back up your data in the background without anyone even noticing. If you're just on a standalone PC, then yes, your PC would need to be switched on. Don't need to be in Sage, doesn't matter whether it's open or not, but it needs to be powered on for that data service to run. And then the final question in this round, but a little bit of a divide on this one as well. In check data, what does it mean if you have an error? So the common answers there were, we recommend you fix these before continuing. And the correct answer is you must stop processing until they have been resolved. So if you do come across errors when you check your data, whether that's either via the schedule backup option, where it automatically checks your data, or if you're doing it manually, you must stop processing. You need to resolve those errors before you do anything else. Now, if you do have errors, warnings, or comments when you check your data, remember you can access the help within that window. And remember, if you're unnerved by it, not sure what to do, our support team is on hand and they can offer advice if needed. So no need to struggle or panic with anything. Get in touch if you're not sure. And that brings us to the end of the answers for round 4. So back to you, Jackie.
Okay, thank you very much, Michael. I'm just going to take the screens back there and reshare. So this is the final round, round 5, and 4 more questions, and then we're going to be looking at what the badge will look like once Michael's gone through the results for you. Okay, so on with round 5, question 17. Just launch that quickly. So where can you select layouts to use for quick print and email? So round 5 was all around shortcuts for success, and we showed you the options of quick print and quick email. Can you remember where you would specify what layout you want to use for those features? So is it settings configuration, settings and company preferences, settings and email defaults, or settings, invoice and order defaults? Again, if you've got access to the software, you can have a quick go, as long as you are quick. And we've got some of the votes starting to come through there. Okay. So we'll quickly wrap this up in just a moment. So get your votes across. And I'm just going to share those there now. So at the moment, settings email defaults is the one everyone's going for, closely followed by settings invoice and order defaults. So on with question 18. So question 18 is all about hotkeys. So how do you access the hotkeys feature in Sage 50 accounts? So he did show some different ways of using function keys and hotkeys on our session, which was on Thursday morning before our first quiz. So can you tell me which one is the hotkeys feature within your software? And again, if you did miss that session and you would find some of these quite valuable, the session is recorded and available on our recordings page, so you can always play catch up if you need to. Okay, votes are starting to come through there now. So at the moment, we've got about 34% of you voted, so I'll just wait for a couple more votes to come through. And I'm just going to close that there now. Okay, and I'm just going to share the results there. So majority, the larger one is 47% have selected the Alt key, and closely followed by Control and Alt, and then Shift and F6. So question 19. Which of the function keys, so again, talking about those function keys, which can be used to insert a blank line when entering data? So we've got lots of function keys in the software. Some are for adding lines, some allow us to remove lines. You can copy the line above. You can calculate net. Do you know which one is there for inserting a line? And again, this is a really useful feature if you've got a long list of transactions that they need to be a specific order and you've maybe jumped ahead of the game, you need to insert a transaction in a particular place. I'll be honest, it's one I use quite a lot. Okay, so close and share. And F7 was a clear favorite from the beginning. I think someone was literally hovering over that button. So F7 was the main one, followed by F8. So all will be revealed in just one moment as we move on to our final question of the day and of International Accounting Week. Okay, so I'm going to launch this one here. Using the Smart Link within a customer activity does what? Does it take you to the original transactions window? Does it open the original invoice? Does it allow you to set up a recurring item? Or does it allow you to pay off the invoice? So when you click a Smart Link in the customer activity, so it's a little arrow, it allows you to link into another part of the software. Can you tell me where? Okay. just allow a few more votes to come through. So we'll go to Michael in just a moment for the results of the final round. Like I say, please do stick around, because straight after that, I will be showing you what the new badging system looks like and what you can do to share your badge once you've earned that. So different situation to what we've done in the past. We have now moved on to a new system. Okay, I'm going to close the poll there. I am going to share the results. So 71% of you said open the original invoice, followed by 24% saying it takes you to the transactions window. So I'm going to hide that. I'm going to pop you back to Michael for the last time, and he's going to just go through the final round results there.
Thank you, Jackie. Right, we'll quickly whiz through the answers to this one. Just look conscious of the time as well. So first question in the round, if I can find the right button. Where can you select which layouts to use for quick print and email? So the answer to that one is settings and invoice defaults. There was actually a slight, quite an even split between settings email defaults and settings invoice and order defaults, but it is settings invoice and order defaults. Now, if you are on the essentials level of the software, that rather than being called invoice and order defaults, it will just be called invoice defaults. So within there, when you access it, you'll have the quick print tab at the top and also the email tab. On those respective tabs, if you needed to, you can change which layout those features pick up. So nice and easy to change it if you selected the wrong one, or if you've introduced maybe your own layout that you want to use instead. Next, how do you access the hotkeys feature? It is simply to press the Alt key. So for those of you that have forgot about that one, you just press the Alt key, and what you'll do is you'll get a little code next to each of the options, and if you type that code in, it will open it up. So if you prefer to be keyboard based, it can save you switching between the keyboard and the mouse, and hopefully as you get a bit more familiar with them, it'll speed up your processing. So if you haven't already used it, just press your Alt key. When you're in Sage 50 Next, you'll see all the codes pop up. If you just want to hide them at that point, you just press Alt again, it'll hide them at that point. But good little time saver, that one, once you've got used to it. So Alt was the correct answer. Next, which of the function keys can you use to insert a blank line when entering data? I thought this might have caught more people out, but well done. So 78% of you did pick up on F7. So F7 and F8, usually, sometimes people get mixed up with those. So F7 is used to insert a blank line. So if you're in the middle of a batch of transactions, for instance, and you think, oh, I've missed a one, I need to, or maybe you need to split a transaction between a number of different nominal codes, you can click on a line, press F7, everything from that highlighted line downwards will move down, leaving you that blank line where you can start entering more transactional information into. And that can be, you'll find it works same if you're in invoicing or order processing as well. If you need to find out about the other function keys, because they all have a use within Sage, if you pop into the Help Center and just search for function keys or shortcuts, and it will find the information, it will list them all for you. So well done if you got that one. That's F7. And the final question in the round was using the smart link within a customer's activity does what? So again, the vast majority of you got this right. It's one of those that you may have stumbled across when you've been using Sage. You accidentally clicked on the arrow to see what it does. It does open the original invoice or credit note for that matter. So it's a nice, easy one. If you're looking at that activity, you see the invoice. Obviously, you don't get all the product details, etc. when you're looking at the activity window of a customer. So if you just either click on the little arrow that's attached to the transaction, or indeed just double click the transaction anywhere except the transaction number. So double click it, it will do the same thing. Similarly, if you're in an invoice where you've got the customer's account reference, if you click on the little arrow to the left of that, it will take you into the customer record. So hopefully you've done quite well on the quiz. Right, that concludes the answers. We'll hand you back to Jackie just to wrap things up.
Okay, thank you very much there, Michael. So as promised, I just wanted to show you our new system for badging. So we have been running badging for a year, but we have now moved on going forward onto a new system called Accredible. So if you have earned any badges in the past, then they unfortunately will not be on the same system. So that was a question we did have last week. But going forward, you will find all of your badges are going to be held on this system. So what will happen is towards the end of this month, so please do bear with us getting to grips with this new system, is you will receive an email which looks a little bit like this one, and it will give you a link to view your badge. Okay, now once you've viewed your badge, I'm just going to very quickly go on to the next screen so you can see that one. You will log into Accredible, okay, and it will look a little bit like this one. So if you haven't used Accredible before, it will ask you to create a login, and you will know that you're logged in because it will show your name up here. If it says sign in, then you will need to create that sign in or log into an account if you've previously created one. Now, the key thing for you here, first of all, is to change your privacy settings. So if you click on privacy, you will see that mine is set to public. Okay, now obviously if you've earned your badge, you'll want to tell the world about that. In order to do that, you need to just make sure that you change your settings to public. So by default, they will say private, switch them to public, and that will allow you to start sharing your credential. In terms of sharing, you have lots of different routes of sharing. It can be shared by social media, so you have the option to share through LinkedIn, but also through Facebook, X, WhatsApp, and others available as well. You can download a copy of the badge, and you can also email that to yourself, to colleagues, to future employers. So it allows you to share your credentials with others so that they can see, you're actively working on your self-development there. What will happen is over time, as you start to join more and more of our badges, you will start to build up a wallet of your badges, and they will all be held together in this My Credentials window, and it will show you all of the badges that you've earned. So basically that is the badging system. Okay, and it's been a nice way of holding all of those together. We're going to be looking to do more and more badges. Our next one for accounts, we're looking towards the end of January, February time. So please do, again, if you've enjoyed the badge, join us again for those. But in the meantime, we are continuing with our webinars. We're not going quiet in the meantime. We've got loads on in between now and then. So next we are launching our correction series. So we're going to be starting that this week. So it's a series dedicated to corrections, and that's everything from customers, journals, the impact on VAT and bank reconciliation, invoices and orders, and stock. So that is going to run throughout November and December. But in amongst that, we've got some of your favorites like VAT, we've got bank feeds, and also we'll be looking at our festive series in December, which is all of those things you might consider doing at year end essentially, or around Christmas time. So we've got lots and lots of content coming up, and we also have our version 31 release. So again, we'll be doing webinars for version 31 starting in December too. So please do check out the links in your follow-up email today to get yourself registered for those webinars. And we'd absolutely love to see you on those sessions. And again, keep an eye out. We will promote early once we know what dates we're going to use for our next badge. We'll promote those early so you can get yourself registered for those sessions. Okay, so that brings us to the end of today's session. So I just do want to say thank you so much to you, our customers, for joining us on these sessions. We really do hope that you will provide us with some feedback on these sessions. Okay, so we have enjoyed delivering them, but have you enjoyed at your end? So if there's any feedback whatsoever, please do let us know. Also, thank you very much to the team. Lots of content has been created dedicated for this week. So thank you very much for that as well. Okay, so that brings us to the end of the session. Thank you very much, everyone. Apologies that we've run over slightly there, but take care, and we will see you on another session, hopefully in the very near future. So goodbye for now.